Hi everyone, and welcome. This is Ms. Borgen, your librarian, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about the paper without a paper and the IPP, or the Ignatian Pedagogical Paradigm. So this assignment is going to be basically like a practice research paper. You're going to go through a lot of the steps that you would in order to write one, but you're going to stop just short of writing a whole long paper. And what the library is here to do is to help you figure out the best way to research it. So here's a quick roadmap here. This video is going to be pretty short, less than 10 minutes. I'll talk to you about St. Ignatius briefly, what is the IPP, PWOP, sort of nuts and bolts, and then I'll talk a little bit about the mind map activity that we're going to do together. So many of you are familiar with the life of St. Ignatius already. He was a 16th century soldier, got wounded in the leg, and afterwards he turned to a life of spirituality and eventually founded the Jesuit order. So he created these spiritual exercises that eventually became a model for the Jesuits for teaching and learning, and the IPP sort of comes out of that. The IPP stands for the Ignatian Pedagogical Paradigm. Pedagogy just means like how you teach something, and then a paradigm is sort of an example or a pattern of something. So this is sort of a fancy way of saying that the IPP is essentially just a way of teaching and learning. It's not really just for school. It's really a model of knowledge creation, and anybody can use it. So it's really useful when attempting something like a research paper. So there are 5 steps to the IPP. The first one is context, and it's highlighted here in red because that's what we're going to be talking about today. So context is actually going out, getting background information, figuring out what you know, what you don't know. Experience is the next step. When you actually go out into the world, you do some research, you start looking around. Then you'll step back for reflection, the third step. And you're going to kind of take the temperature. So do you have what information do you need? Can you correctly cite your sources? Do you need help with something? The next step is action, so actually writing your paper, creating new knowledge to share with other people. And the last step, which is most important, is evaluation. So, in order not to make the same sort of mistakes next time or to improve upon the process, it's great to take some time and really think about how it went. Would you do the same things next time? Why or why not? So IPP is pretty simple. I have some learning targets for you for our first library session together. One is that you can organize knowledge so that it's useful. Another is that you can use prior and background knowledge, so also known as context for new learning. So you're going to take the knowledge that you get and kind of start to find your way towards creating new knowledge. So for kind of our first session in the library together, these are really the skills that we want you to walk away from, and hopefully we'll give you the tools to use it that way. So what we're going to do together is what's called mind maps, and I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with this. When you're gathering context, you sort of spend time figuring out what you know and what you don't know, and then what next steps to take. In the library, our activity is going to be producing a mind map that kind of helps you organize all this information. So mind map is just a diagram that helps you visually organize stuff. So on the screen up here, we have a couple of different examples of mind maps. So some things to sort of look for in a mind map. The example on the left here has kind of their main idea in the middle and then several branches coming out of it. Notice how colorful it is. Our brains really like color. It helps us sort of organize stuff. Notice pictures. They say that pictures are worth 1,000 words, and that's definitely true on your mind map as well. And notice how the branches sort of get thinner as they move out, how it kind of starts with a larger, broader idea, and as they kind of go out from the main idea in the middle, that the branches get smaller and smaller, but that those little branches are related to the big branches that they're connected to. So it's a really nice kind of pretty mind map here. If you look at the one on the right, this one is much more text-based, but the student here still put her idea in the middle. And I'll give you a template for this when we're all together. So the outer sections are kind of divided into these 4 categories. Questions about her topic, search terms and vocabulary. That's really useful when you're searching on the web or in databases. Sources, so places to look. You can see that one of her sources is actually herself, so maybe she's interviewing herself, maybe she's a track and field person, and she's talking about, her experiences. And then there's another one that this picture doesn't show, but the idea of big ideas or concepts. So it could be stuff that's related to track and field, but maybe didn't come up in other places. So these are really helpful ways to organize information around your topic, especially when you're just getting started and you don't really know anything about anything. Here's a really simple example of a mind map that I made. You can see that my main topic is in the middle, and I've got it divided into 4 different quadrants, kind of like the last student on the last slide. And I'll give you guys a template for that as well. Next, I'm going to show you the Paper Without a Paper website. So we have a nice website on the McKay Library Haiku page. And this is sort of my teacher version here, and I've got the student version. So if you look here, here's a nice PWOP 2016 website. On the right here, we've got your little schedule. It's going to be different for every collegio, obviously. We've got some documents. If you're looking for that template for the mind map that I just showed you, you can look here and see. All the videos that I do will be linked up here as well. And then, of course, in the middle, I'll go over this in class, but I've got a section here for context with those learning targets that I mentioned, another link to the mind map, and then some pre-search links, because what we'll be doing is we'll be filling out those mind maps by going to different websites and sort of beginning to discover more information about our topics. I highly recommend that you hold off on the open web for our first session together, just because there is so much stuff out there. Some of it is great, some of it is not so great, but these sort of pre-search links will kind of get you started in a really helpful way. And that's really it. I'll show up these QR codes when you all come into the library, and you can point your favorite QR reader at them and download the mind map template, and then you can also scan and bookmark the PWOP site for easy use. And that's really it. We'll see you soon.